everyone, welcome back, and I'm Shannon if you're new, but today I'm making my French cleat tool wall, which I'm super excited about. My garage is an absolute disaster, and this will really help get it organized and get things off of the ground and off of my workplaces. So I'm really excited to have this, and plus it's going to look a lot better. This wall is going to be pretty much my background for YouTube too, so it's going to look really pretty and I'm going to be really functional. So I'm very excited to have this finally done.
If you don't know what a French cleat system is, it pretty much is two pieces of wood cut at a 45-degree angle with one mounted to the wall and the other one mounted to your tool holder. So to start this project, I went to Home Depot and I got two pieces of plywood. I got one 1/2-inch sheet of plywood and then one 3/4-inch sheet of plywood. And then I took it over to get cut, and I cut them both in half just so they could fit in my car. But if you have a bigger car than me, then you don't need to do this.
So first I'm starting off, I'm using two pieces of plywood. This one is going to be my actual French cleats themselves. And then right here, I'm going to mount my French cleats to that one, mount that to the wall so I don't mount a ton of individual French cleats into the wall. So essentially I can have like 4 or 5 screws in the wall instead of 12 screws or more. This is 3/4-inch plywood and that is 1/2-inch plywood. Sorry. But yeah, this is 3/4-inch plywood and that's 1/2-inch plywood. And I bought the cheapest stuff really because I'm gonna paint it, so it doesn't matter what it looks like. So let's get started.
My fence is set to 6 inches, so now I'm gonna start ripping these pieces.
So I'm cutting all of these down to 6 inches just so I have smaller, more manageable pieces. And then once I finished cutting all of those pieces, I started actually cutting the 45-degree angles.
I just finished my workbench and this is my first time using it, so I'm really excited. I definitely wouldn't be able to do this at all without it.
So here I have the fence 3.5 inches away from the blade and the blade at a 45-degree angle. So cut all of those pieces, and then once I finished, I wanted to see how they looked on my other sheet of plywood. So I laid them all out and then decided that they're way too big. So I ended up deciding to take off 1 inch off of each cleat. So if you're trying to recreate this, just make your original cut on the cleats 2.5 inches long instead of doing multiple unnecessary cuts. So once I finally got all of those done, I started sanding the French cleats and the sheet of plywood with 80 grit and 120 grit paper, then vacuumed it to get all the sand off. And now I can actually start attaching my French cleats to my sheet of plywood. To attach the French cleats, I'm using these 1-inch screws and this wood glue. So I first measured every 6 inches on both sides and put a mark there so I know that all the cleats are evenly spaced and straight. Then added wood glue along the whole thing, and then used a clamp to hold it in place while I could put the screws in. And I'm using a measuring tape here because I wanted to make sure that all the screws I am adding are perfectly spaced and line up perfectly. This step isn't necessary, but I just am a perfectionist, so wanted to do this. So I'm drilling a hole, countersinking the hole so the screw sits flush, and then adding in the screw. And I used 5 screws per each cleat. And here I'm using wood glue to just fill the holes so it's less noticeable after I paint it. Then moved on to the other side and did the exact same thing with that side. And once I finished that, I am officially done with assembling. So cleaned up a bit and then called it a day.
Lola, today is painting day. Yeah, are you excited for me? Are you excited? It's painting day.
So I am going to use a paintbrush and my roller.
Do you think this is yours, puppy?
No. You cutie. I need to open it up.
Before painting, I sanded all the spots that I added wood glue to, so I know that the paint sticks properly, and then I vacuumed to get all the sand off, and now I can actually start painting. So this is the primer I'm using, and I did 1 coat of it using just a normal paintbrush. This is the paint I'm using. It's Winter Way from Home Depot, and it's actually the same color that I used on my workbench if you saw that video. So I started using a roller to save time, but I didn't like the difference of textures between the roller and the brush, so I just decided to use a brush on the whole thing instead. And I did 3 coats total of paint and then let it dry overnight. Next, using this polyurethane, I added 1 layer of polyurethane to the whole thing to make sure that it was super durable and so it doesn't get scratched up easily. I let that dry overnight, and now it's time to install it, and Golan helped me with this part because I definitely wouldn't have been able to do it without him. Off camera, I found all the studs, and then I lined up my tool wall with the studs, and I put a screw in each corner and then 2 in the middle. And make sure that you countersink all of your screws so it doesn't get in the way of the French cleats sliding in and out.
So the whole point of this system, so those are 45-degree angles, and this is the other half of it. So like I'm going to cut these in pieces. I'm going to build a tool holder per every tool I have, and then nail this to the back of the holder, and then all you do is go like this, and it actually is very strong.
That's awesome.
Why I like this is because you can move it wherever you want. You can keep organizing it, keep moving, keep adding stuff. And you know I'm always reorganizing. So.
Right, that's cool.
So put up the second half, and I'm done putting it up on the wall.
Woo! My tool wall is done. Yeah! And then we can put this in front of it, and now it looks so pretty. It's like I'm a real YouTuber and woodworker. Look how pretty it is.
Congrats. Cute.
I decided that I don't like how noticeable the screws are, so I decided to paint them all, and so the wall looks completely seamless. And now I'm officially done with my French cleat tool wall. So this is what this side of the wall used to look like, and this is what it looks like now.
So done with my tool wall. I'm super excited. It's a great background for my YouTube videos, and I am just so excited to work in here now. It looks way better. If you can see before, it was horrible. It was a mess. I mean, my garage is still a mess if I turn the camera around, but it's the beginning of my garage looking better. So I'm very excited, and I'm gonna actually post individual videos of individual tool holders. So like I'm gonna make one for my drills, hammers, my paintbrushes, spray paint, clamps, pretty much everything I own. So everything eventually will be displayed back here, but I'll do those in separate videos. But for now, that's it, I guess. So thank you guys for watching, and I also have a video on how I made this workbench if you want to see that. So I'll see you guys next time, and thank you guys for watching.